So I'm really pleased to be able to introduce Anne Ward, who has been a long-term member of the Eden Project Communities Network in Northern Ireland. And Anne is also now our Food for Life get-together, one of our representatives here in Northern Ireland with the Soil Association. And it's really great to have you here today to share lunch with us. I'm going to start off by sharing your film clip, and then that will allow everybody a chance to relax into the lunch and just pretend we're outdoors right now. And then hopefully everybody will have joined by the time we come back, and you can do your introduction and take over from me. So just bear with me, folks. I'm not that brilliant with the old controls. Can you all see? Go. Beautiful start to lunch, and just to let everybody know that's joining now, we've had a few extra people join since that started. We're dividing this lunch into two sections, and Anne and myself, just in a second. There we go. So yes, everybody, we're just going to divide the lunch into half, and Anne and I are going to lead the first section, and then Tracey and her friends Fatima and Kadja from Kitchen Cultures will hand over to them for the second half of lunch. And that's Fatima and Kadja just giving you a wee wave there at the moment. So yes, over to you, Anne. Thanks very much. That was a beautiful introduction and a wee taste of Armagh as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Are you going to share the presentation?
I am.
Grainne, brilliant. So happy World Food Day, everybody. I'm delighted to be here, and thank you to Grainne and to Tracey for inviting me to this special event. And it's great to be here in partnership with the Soil Association, Food for Life get-togethers, and the Eden Project communities and the Big Lunch. So I'm Anne Ward, I'm the Regional Engagement Officer for the Food for Life get-togethers. And my colleague Catherine is here, Catherine Armstrong, if you want to give a wee wave, Catherine. I don't know if we can see Catherine now with the presentation.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
So the campaign, you know, is all around growth, about nourishing, and there's nothing more nourishing than food. The Get Togethers programme is all about creating connections through people coming together, whether they're sewing, growing, or eating together, and it's all about sustainability. So in the programme, we really want people to come together, not just for one get together, but many more. And our programme is all about reducing isolation and loneliness, supporting connections through good food. It's a 4-year programme funded through the lottery, and it's across the 4 nations. So myself and Catherine are supporting communities in 3 test and learn areas of Northern Ireland, which are Newry, Morning Down, Fermanagh, Omagh and Belfast district councils. And you know, we'll have information on our website, which I will share in the chat box to help you to do a little bit of research later on the programme. Okay, so I'm trying to move it on now. Maybe you need to do it. Fantastic. So just in terms of our support, as well as developmental support, as the engagement officer, there is an equivalent of me across the 4 nations as well. But we also have amazing online resources from our recipes through to growing tips, our campaign resources like World Food Day. We also have our social media. We have a Facebook page and Twitter page, as well as a regular newsletter and little videos like this herb splitting YouTube clip here, which is very relevant now at this time for helping to make more of your herbs and even for sharing. We also provide a matchmaking service where it was traditionally around bringing the very young and the older generations together, but actually we're supporting links between partner networks, organisations who maybe have a similar interest. An example of that might be, you know, where we had a community orchard which was developed during lockdown is now linked up with another community in Newcastle, County Down, who are just in the process of developing network as well. Our main partners are Lincoln Generations Northern Ireland and the Eden Project, the Big Lunch in Northern Ireland and across the UK as well. So we support people of different ages, abilities to get together to grow, cook and share food and deliver practical support and advice. And we do support, obviously, online and socially distanced get-togethers. We have small grants, which is a rolling programme right through to next April. A group can only apply once, and the next closing date is the 13th of November. Okay, so just moving on now to the next slide. So my background, I'm wearing another hat today, my Xhale hat, and I'm sharing this picture of autumn, which I just took the other day, just to show the importance of nature and nature connection, particularly at this uncertain time. And I love autumn, which I'm sure all of you do. You know, there's nothing more certain that the leaves will fall and that they will come back in spring. At the moment, there's so much uncertainty about, but nature and nature connection gives us that beautiful sense of comfort and safety, because that's where we belong. When we evolved there 7 million years ago, we would have been outside 99% of the time, Now we're inside with artificial light, artificial sound, smells. So when we are out in our natural environment, we get this immediate sense of comfort. So I would really encourage all of you, you know, and in Soil Association, we're big advocates of the outdoors anyway, and that connection to nature, really, you know, in terms of your own stress management, stress reduction. I think this is a lovely opportunity just to share the value of that. You know, it's called vitamin N. We need it as much as we need food and we need water. So try and get your lovely dose of vitamin N every day. And then this is, I also do forest bathing workshops. So it's a lovely image I took of my friend in the forest last Sunday on Sleeve Gullion. And you can see the light, just she's immersed in the light, which is just, you know, adorning the forest floor here and herself. So at every opportunity, just sit still, feel the sunlight on your face, breathe in the beautiful smells of autumn. Just watch and observe the changing leaves, colours of the trees. Always remember to look up, look left, look right, look all around. And these are great opportunities for you to focus your attention in the present moment, away from any feelings of fear or stress, which are particularly, you know, at the forefront today with so much uncertainty. Okay, Grainne. And these are my apples. I infused some water. I meant to say at the very beginning, if you haven't got a drink and you didn't receive the email just about preparation, some of you may have registered later, but if you could get a drink of some sort, just because we're going to be doing a little mindful drinking exercise. But the apples in my garden here have you can see the size of them. I mean, obviously that's a close up of that picture, but because of the amazing sunlight that we had during lockdown in spring, and then the rain of the summer, this has really contributed to this amazing crop. So we have cooking apples and ordinary apples. And I have suggested mindful drinking practice using apple and mint, because both are seasonal, and that's what the Soil Association is all about, is promoting seasonality. And both are amazing, even just in an infusion in a drink. You can buy these in the supermarket if you're not growing your own, but both are fantastic for digestion on their own merit if you just eat them as they are. The mint is a herb within other dishes. The apples as they are, or within the drink, you're just getting that lovely flavour and the goodness of both, which both support cleansing, removal of toxins, and support digestion as well. The mint, obviously, as well, which some of you might know, supports relaxation. So just moving on then to the next slide.
Not moving.
It can be so funny. Should I move it?
There we are. Line up.
Okay, and this here I put in just specifically because of World Food Day, and we have loads of resources which I haven't, because my screen has moved, but I'm going to put loads of links into the chat after, and Grainne, you could maybe send them out to participants who maybe don't know how to save things in the chat. So food heritage through the power of storytelling and the senses. So this particular day, and any day of the year at all, is a fantastic opportunity for people to connect through the joy and nurturing subject of food. Because food heritage is all about our ancestry of food. It's about recipes being passed from generation to generation. We have such a diverse population in Northern Ireland and across the UK now. A wonderful opportunity to not only talk about food, but sample the different foods and the origins of that food. And people get a great sense of comfort and security when they're talking about their traditional dishes. Not only talking about it, but preparation of it, and especially through the senses, it brings people right back to that particular place of origin, excuse me. But it's also a great way to ground people in the present moment through their senses. And you know, it's an opportunity for reminiscence from children to adults, people with dementia. It's a wonderful way to engage people of all ages. And we eat so much food every day. and you know, it's a lovely connector, and that's what the Soil Association Food for Life Get-Togethers program is all about, is using food as a catalyst to connect people. So there's a brilliant resource which we have developed, so I would share that with you whenever I finish speaking. Okay, and this image of water, I love this image because it really is an image that speaks a lot about the importance of water, and actually talking about the messages from nature. On a forest bathing session 2 weeks ago up in Sleaf Gullion, we were sitting by the stream, just being still, just observing the movement of the water, the sounds, and one of the participants afterwards in a sharing circle said, nature is amazing for reminding you of things, and I've just been reminded by listening to the sound of the water that I need to drink more water. And 96% of our brains are water. So important that we drink at least 2 to 3 litres a day. We can get lots of water in fruit and veg, which is another opportunity to increase our intake of fruit and veg. It's in soup. Any liquid that you drink, that contributes to your 2 to 3 litres a day. It's really important for our brain health, clarity, everything from our bones, flexibility of our muscles, through to the blood that flows through us to keep us alive, and obviously to for the movement of oxygen. So just put that there, just a little reminder to us that we to try and drink more. So now I'm going to do a little mindful drinking practice. And this practice really is an opportunity for you to just fully pay your attention on purpose, which is what mindfulness is all about, to the practice of drinking. So I'm going to do a little guided meditation to help ground you in the present moment. And then I'm going to talk you through literally just holding your glass right through to sipping and drinking slowly. So I hope you all have something to drink. I mean, I'm doing it with a drink now. And I think, is everybody on silent, Grainne?
Mm-hmm.
So check, yeah. Okay.
And the slideshow to do that.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to just talk you now gently through a grounding and breathing exercise, which you can do at any time. You have the natural resources within you to help you to ground in the present moment at any time. And meditation is great for helping to reduce stress, but it's also brilliant for stress prevention and to the removal of accumulated stress within the body. And your main natural resources are the body, the breath, and the senses. So I'm going to be talking you through some of those now in this present moment. So please sit nice and comfortable on your chair with your back nice and supported, with your hands just gently resting on your lap, with your feet nice and firmly on the floor in front of you, with your legs uncrossed. And just feel that lovely connection between the chair and your body. If you'd like to, just gently close your eyes, or you can just gently gaze ahead. And I want you to just bring your awareness now to your feet. Just feel that connection between your feet and the floor. Just noticing all the points of contact between the soles of your feet and the floor. Noticing any movements of blood, any pulsations, any feelings of warmth or cold. I want you to imagine that you're rooted now like the roots of an old tree, just holding you now firmly, securely and safely in the present moment, where there's no fear, there's no anxiety. And I want you to feel the points of contact between your body and the chair, your legs, your lower back, your upper back. Just enjoy that lovely feeling of being held in the present moment. And now I want you to bring your awareness to your breath. Very often we breathe shallow breathing from our chest upwards. I want you to bring your awareness now right down to your lower tummy. And I want you to breathe deeply in. And then breathe deeply out. Breathing deeply in through your nose. and breathing deeply out through your mouth. Breathing deeply in and breathing deeply out. Just notice the gentle rise and fall of your tummy with each in-breath and each out-breath. Just noticing the expansion of your rib cage at the front, the sides and the back. Just imagine that each and every one of your muscles and cells is completely relaxed. And that all is well in this beautiful, precious, present moment. And then just gently open your eyes if you have them closed. Just bring your awareness back into the room. Now I want you to just gently reach for your drink, which you hopefully have some nice infused drink. I have apple mint and apple from the garden, which I infused last night. And I want you to just gently lift the glass in your hand. I don't want you to do anything else, but just lift it. Whatever drink you have in this moment, just lift it with whatever is your hand. And I want you to just pause and just feel the weight of that glass or mug or whatever you have, and just notice the weight of that in your hand. Now, I know it's not a very exciting moment, but this is a moment that you will be missing, and a moment that you could be spending on worrying thoughts about the past or the future. So mindfulness is all about giving the mind another job, getting it focused on the present moment, away from those worrying thoughts of the past or future. And those thoughts are wasted energy, which generally never come true, which is quite liberating. So by focusing on the present moment, you are actually supporting stress management, and you are in this total moment. Just enjoying the weight of that in your hand. And then gently raising the glass up to your mouth. And if you have a nice smell, just smell it. Just have a little smell. And if you've got anything infused in there, then you'll notice the lovely smells, either of the mint or apple or rosemary, whichever you have. And just notice what that smells like. And then gently bring the glass towards your mouth, and then just take a little sip. And I want you to notice the cold water, the cold sensation on your tongue, in your mouth. And I want you to gently follow as you sip slowly, just following the liquid down your esophagus and into your tummy. Just gently sipping, moment by moment. Just enjoying the sensation and the simplicity of drinking an infused water. So we drink so much a day, we eat so much a day. I'm using water just for practicality, not to put people under pressure to have a food prepared for today. And I know a lot of you probably have a lovely lunch with you. I just wanted to stress, I know that sounds very exaggerated, but it is so, because it just shows you how many moments we miss from drinking. We're constantly scrolling Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and we're actually missing the moments and the precious moments, the nurturing moments that drinking and eating can bring us in terms of support and stress management, which we all need at this time. So I'm going to hand back over to Grainne, but I will insert a lot of links into the chat box, and also I will insert a little mindful cooking video that I made with chest, heart and stroke in a previous project, which will help to support you and ground you in the present moment through the sensations of the chopping, right through to the sensations of smelling, eating the food. And again, this is all supporting stress management. So thank you, Grainne, and I'll hand over to you.
Thanks very much, Anne. That was really probably the most relaxing lunch break I have ever had. And we're going to hand over now to Tracey and to Tracey's friends, Fatima and Kaja from Kitchen Cultures, for the second half of our lunch. Tracey, I hope you're able to keep going now. I just feel like going to sleep now. That was so relaxing. Over to you.
As you all know, I'm a great believer in napping. So I think I could have a lie down and a nap there, no better than what's in a forest. I just wanted to just reflect first and maybe invite you to join me on Anne's session before we move on. And there's some words I wrote down, which is around food and comfort and senses and preparing and stress relief. And I often go back when I'm stressed. I love preparing vegetables. Not saying I'm the best, I just like the action of chopping and preparing food. I'm not a very good baker because you've got to stick to a recipe, and I like to ad lib a little bit. But one of my childhood dishes, I suppose, was good old chicken soup, which my beloved still insists is a stew and not a soup, and we get into a great big debate. But my mum used to always do the carcass and boil it up and make a lovely chicken soup, and I still do that to this day. And I actually had some very quick chicken and ham soup before you arrived, because I'm northern, so my lunchtime is at 12:30. And I have wonderful debates with different people from different places around the country who have breakfast, dinner and tea, or breakfast, lunch and dinners at 9 o'clock at night. And people have different patterns of eating, but usually what brings us together is our love of food and water, and our love, and as you said, Anne, the senses and the memories that food has for us all. And even when I'm polling, it's not a classy dish, mate, don't get me wrong, but a bit of mashed potato and gravy, and I'm a happy lady. What can I say? So I think it's really important that we hold on to not just the joy of eating with others, but also the joy of what food, recipes, memories have brought to us. And that's why I really am so thrilled to have Fatima and Xhale here, and I think some of the amazing women that they've been working with, to talk about what they've been doing and what they've been trying to capture and learn. So I think I'll hand over straight to you two ladies, and then maybe we can have a reflection at the end.
We've come as a 3 today.
Oh, who else is with you?
So our lovely Wrinkle is one of our collaborators. So we're in it as a 3 today.
Yay.
Thank you, Tracey, and thank you, Anne. That was really lovely, and I feel like a lot of the themes that you were picking up on there with the Food for Life project are probably ones that we're sort of looking at as well. But yeah, so I'm Xhale. I'm an artist and researcher at UWE in Bristol, and this is Fatima. Fatima, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am a non-practicing occupational therapist and a no-waste chef.
And this is Wrinkle, one of our collaborators who's joining us.
Hello everyone, I'm Wrinkle.
So the way that this project started was that I am doing my PhD at UWE in Bristol, and the Eden Project's Invisible Worlds exhibition got some money to work with an artist on a project, and we kind of submitted something about like working with communities to find out about preservation recipes from lots of different migrant cultures, because I think a lot of the time when we're looking at food waste, we're looking at the ways that we already know to deal with that food waste, but actually there's lots of expertise and knowledge within the diaspora that we could potentially be using to do that. And they were really keen on it and wanted us to maybe like get a bit more involved with some of the community activities. So that's how we've ended up here. It's how we met Tracey. But yeah, so the project sort of started when like Fatima and I kind of were talking about what we were interested in terms of food. So Fatima's been working as a chef for the past couple of years, and I have been working with food as part of my artistic practice. And prior to that, I was working I was kind of involved in a lot of food-based activism, and through that, like I kind of became involved in interested in food waste, but also the way in which you can use food to kind of talk to people and kind of access this. Sorry, there's someone at my door and the dog is barking. I'm just going to shut the door.
It's okay, it happens to me.
Good girl, lady. Good girl.
Fetch them, lady, get them. I saw 2 dogs earlier. This is it was Joanne had one and somebody else had a dog. Was it? Helen. Yeah, we've all got dogs. I was trying to interview people. Oh, lovely. I was trying to interview people the other week, and honestly, every time I got onto an interview, the dog started barking. Go on, Kadja.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Fatma's dog, Rolo, likes to come and sit on her lap anytime she's on a video. I'm surprised he's not there right now.
It's because it's cold in the room, so he's under his little duvet, ignoring me.
We normally get the joy of my boss's cat's bum on a regular basis, which I'm glad we don't have to share over lunchtime, to be fair.
Also, Kaj, what are you eating? What is your lunch today, please?
So it was a fish finger sandwich. It was a toasted fish finger sandwich with spinach and tomato and your carrotastrophe sauce and some homemade tartar sauce that I made the other day. So yeah, it was a bit pimped up, but it was mostly just a fish finger sandwich because we've been cooking so much as part of this project. And I don't know if we didn't say this already, it only finished last night. And so like we've been experimenting really heavily and constantly thinking about food and thinking about different ways of using processes that we might be bringing from our own cultures, that we're learning from our participants, that we're also kind of just really interested in investigating. And you kind of get to a point where you're like, I love cooking, but maybe today I just want to make a sandwich. What did you have, Fatma?
I have, you can still see a bit of it, a bit there. It's like a Thai dish that I picked up when I was in Thailand, and it's like a stir-fried pork mince with a whole heap of red chilies. Here is one still from in my plate. Loads of holy basil, garlic, soy sauce, oyster sauce, a little bit of palm sugar, and you stir fry it off. Takes like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes at the most. And then you serve it on rice with like a fried egg on top. So that's what I've been eating.
That's just making me look.
It's really good.
I think that's the chef showing you up there.
Wrinkle,
it's like a five ingredient sort of meal, so it's definitely achievable. I can also share it if anyone wants to.
Yes,
I can share it later.
I wanted to share what I was having, but I can't spell it. Sorry.
Wrinkle, what did you have?
I just make the chickpeas tadka dal with the zira rice.
Oh, lovely.
And I just make the radish bhaji with the methis, the chapati with the herb. I use the herb with the methi. It's the bitter taste, and I just make it for lunch.
What I love about you, Wrinkle, is I'll be like, what did you make? And she'll be like, oh, I just made this, and then also this, and then also this, and then also this. And just whipped it up for lunch.
Because I buy the radish. It's so fresh and delicious in the market from morning. And they got a bunch of the sago with together. Everyone just throw in the bin. And I said, let me try it. So I make with the ginger. It just took me 2 minutes. I make the hot 1 tablespoon of olive oil, hit in the pan, and little bit of garlic, chunk of garlic, and little bit chili, and squeeze lemon. And it's just 2 minutes, and it just come out, and it's delicious. It's little bit bitter, but it's delicious. It's so nutritious, so I know. So I just read that one.
It's really great. Yeah, so like Wrinkle got involved when we kind of like did a recruitment drive. We wanted people who were interested in food. So initially we were going to do this project with a couple of communities in Bristol, where I was living at the time, and London, where Fatma lives. And we were going to go there in person and run workshops. But obviously because of COVID, we had to vastly like reimagine the project. And as much as it was kind of frustrating having to do that, it also, I feel like, opened up a lot of opportunities in terms of the people we could work with. And Fatma and I were just talking about this yesterday. There's something about working on Zoom, having people work in their own kitchens and their own homes means that like people are maybe a little bit more comfortable than if they were in a kind of artificially created space that we were kind of going, okay, now come in and work in this space with us, because I feel like it changes expertise a little bit. So yeah, we asked for people who were interested in food, were interested in preservation. We were focused specifically on BAME women from migrant communities living in the UK at the moment. And we ended up with 6 participants, of which Wrinkle was one. And Wrinkle is from North India. She's actually very close to where my family is from in Gujarat, but my family came via Africa. And Fatima's, actually we didn't say this part, so my family are North Indian. My dad was born and raised in Uganda, but then my mum was born and raised in India, and then they moved to the UK about 40 years ago. And so those are my food influences sort of coming in. And I grew up in Leicester, where there is a huge who moved to North Indian people who moved to the UK via East Africa, so not just Uganda but also Kenya, and so you get a lot of that influence in the cooking. Fatma, did you want to talk a bit about your background?
Yeah, I'm just sending you guys my little lunch recipe there. That's up on the now for you. Good. If you like it. Yeah, my food influences are quite sort of diverse. My mum's from Nigeria and I was born in Nigeria. And when I was younger, we really weren't allowed in the kitchen at all. So I didn't really do much learning at that stage. And then my parents split up and I moved to the UK to live with my dad. And my dad is Pakistani Ugandan. So he's Pakistani heritage, but he was born in Uganda and raised in Uganda. He married a Punjabi woman, and so actually growing up for a lot of my teens and sort of late sort of being a child and then early teens and whatever, I ate a lot of Indian food, a lot of North Indian food, a lot of Punjabi foods, and that's where I sort of learned to cook. And I had a bit of an up and down teenage life, so I tended to live a little bit at friends' houses and things like that. So it meant that I'd be staying at one friend's house and learning a bit about Italian food over there, and then staying at another friend's house and learning about how to make the perfect pastry over there. I've been lucky enough to do quite a lot of traveling, and wherever I've been, I've just been there like a stalker with my notepad, sort of disturbing the cooks in the kitchen, being like, and how much soy sauce is that? Okay, great. And writing these things down and trying to like gather all the information. So it's really quite far reaching. And then recently, more recently, I've been discovering my Nigerian food heritage as I've been getting a bit older. I've been talking to my mother a lot more because, you know, she's a bit, she's in the sort of danger zone for COVID. And so I'm always quite concerned about her and speaking to her quite regularly. And it means that we're sharing a lot more recipes that I remember from my childhood, but have just never had an opportunity to make. So I'm making a lot of them now, which is quite fun. And then in my sort of professional life, I am, like, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm on at Food Ventures with Fatty. But I'll write that down and send it to you. But like that is a place for me to just do what I love. And really what I've discovered I like to do is not waste food. That's what I like to do. So almost everything that I make, it might be that I'm making something because I just fancy eating it. And then with whatever's left over, barely anything gets thrown away. If there's a bit of pork fat left over, that goes in the freezer and then I use it later for making scallion pancakes. If there's a chicken carcass, like you were saying, Tracy, I also boil that up, make a stock, reduce it down into little ice cubes, chuck it in the freezer. We make vinegars and drinks and ferments and all kinds of bits and pieces. And it's oh, I think Kaj just sent you my Instagram. Thanks, Kaj. So I yeah, it's just I think also working in the restaurant industry, I found that people throw away a lot if it's not commercially viable to just kind of use it. And I was working in a particular place that was throwing away 100 egg whites a week at least. And I was then having a freezer just packed full of egg whites every week. There's really only so much meringue and angel food cake and whatever you can eat. So you've then got to become quite creative with like, what do I do with 37 egg whites anyway? That kind of thing. So yeah, my food journey is a bit sort of meandering, I suppose.
Yeah, I can see Fatima's top tips or 10 top ways of using 37 egg whites.
Well, honestly, egg whites are the bane of my life now.
I keep saying you need your own food channel. I would watch that.
It would be called 101 egg white recipes.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry if we're being a bit disjointed here, basically because we're still in the process of doing the project and we haven't quite formulated the outcomes. We did the last meeting last night, and so we're kind of like almost creating the story as we go, so I hope that's okay. But we what we said we wanted from the process was we wanted to create encounters between cultures that maybe don't necessarily encounter each other in food that often, or to share expertise across different cultures, but also across different generations. So we had 6 participants in the end, and they were from India, Zimbabwe, Iran,
Holland, Jamaica, and Ghana in one person.
yes,
Where's
Japanese lady,
everybody else from?
Peruvian lady.
Yeah.
Is that everyone? Yeah. So like actually the majority of our participants ended up being first generation, but we were quite open to first or second generation in terms of like where they were born, whether they'd moved here or whether they were born here.
Well, the first generation aspect was really so that we could think about people who had moved to the UK with, especially if they moved a little while ago when it wasn't so easy to get all of the sort of ingredients that you might want. And how they've sort of adapted recipes as they've moved to the UK, and because they can't necessarily get those ingredients here, or because the climate is different. So that was why initially we were sort of aiming at first generation migrants, but actually it was quite a rich, we had lots of rich story with the combination of both sort of areas,
I think
really.
we decided, like, as we started to get applications, to just kind of be a bit relaxed about who we'd consider. And I think we ended up with such a wonderful group, of whom Wrinkle was one of them. But we already knew Wrinkle because Wrinkle works with a project called Preservation Culture, who are doing a very similar thing in that they work with women in East London to develop workshops. So Wrinkle runs workshops, and we went to a workshop that she had run where she taught us how to make a wonderful carrot pickle. So when she said she wanted to be involved in our project, we were really excited. So I don't know, Wrinkle, do you want to say a bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm working with them preservation culture, because I go like they searching for who just interested in the food and who done the hygiene course and who just able to do the qualification in the food industry. Basically, if they just want to like not doing everything without the passing the certificate and everything. And we done the exam and we done the course, and we qualified to make the like preservation culture. What they just asking for us, we just done that. And they say we just focus on the London waste food, fruit and veg. Is most of the time is carrot, apple, pear, and potato. It's just 4 fruit and veg, throw in every single day, 1,000 and 1,000 tons. So we just focuses on and reduce. We want to reduce that waste. So with our culture recipe, we need to use you doing in the waste food. We need to use that and create the new recipe. And then we just done that one, and we've done the 2 workshop, and then this pandemic come up, so we couldn't done that anymore. And then they say you can send our recipe, and we just make the video and we put it on there. So we just like sprouted, like when you buy the garlic and ginger, you can't straight away finish it off. So you go everything in the sprouted. So we just create the recipe with the, instead of going in the bin, you can use it and for leave on the longer on the table and that kind of activity. So I done like my in preservation culture, I done the garlic chutney with the peanut and sesame seed and oil. So when you just add the peanut with the garlic, when you chop it, so it just strong smell is just gone away. And the oil and salt preservation is living longer. And on your table, you no need to put in the cupboard or anything. Or if you did like using your favorite dish, you can have it by yourself, just little bit water, mix it, and you can use in your favorite recipe and things like that. So we just doing with the carrot pickle, fridge one recipe one. So 2 to 3 weeks, up to 3 weeks, you can put in the fridge and you can use it, the wet one. And we also dry recipe. In the India, they put in, doing in the mango pickle because there are so many mango there. So that way we just done with the carrot pickle and it goes very well. I go 1 second, give me, I can show you with collaboration. I done with the Iranian carrot pickle.
Yeah, so Wrinkle was paired with Soha, who is Iranian but grew up in Canada, and they found out that they had, they both loved pickles, but they had very different like techniques for making pickles. So, and the spices that they used were slightly different. So what they ended up doing was this like really, really incredible granular process where they sent each other spices and then took the ingredients that they loved and like ended up pickling them and then adapting it slightly. So they ended up with quite a lot of pickles, and Wrinkle was just showing them to us last night.
Oh,
It's
wow.
like, just like Indian mango pickle. Instead of mango, I use the carrot, and it stay up to 1 year in your table.
We definitely need that recipe, Wrinkle.
Yeah, Kajal gonna sort out everything.
Good old Kajal.
Iranian style, we just go for the cauliflower and carrot for Iranian style. And then I like it so much. So I done with the beetroot because I love beetroot. And instead of buying beetroot pickle from the outside, when we buy 3-4 beetroot, we just use the 1 or 2, and then it just gone soft and everything. So we can make it this pickle. When it's like fruit and veg going like soft, then we don't like it taste. So with the preservation technique, it stay in your table for a long time instead of going in the waste. So that's, yeah. And I don't like waste. I like different dishes. I always use it. I never. And for beetroot, the beetroot peel, I always make the beetroot stroke, and I can use it with my favorite recipe. And with beetroot stroke, I just find out like, if you like, when it's getting cold, little bit of pepper, and if you drink it, it's so sweet. It's so sweet, and it's got so much benefit. So yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Wrinkle. Theo, you just said that you make a similar pickle in Indonesia. I'd love to hear about that.
Yes, because the Indonesian one is we use vinegar and we chop the chili, adding into the pickle. So when we have like our normal food like nasi goreng or noodle mee goreng, there is always a side this pickle, what we call it achar.
That's what we call it.
Huh? Yeah, we call it achar. The name of our pickle is achar, so we call it achar, either cucumber, so achar timun, or achar carrot, sort of like that. So it's a standard. Every house will have this kind of style of achar. While in my family, because we like spicy food, we always have this chop, but the chili, the long one, what we call it here, maybe the bird eye chili, but should be the red one, the long thin one, the very hot one.
Yeah. It's really interesting because that word achar, it's come up a few times because it's what it's called in North India. Not specifically in Gujarat, we say atanu, but like the word is achar. And then our Zimbabwean participant also said the word achar, and she said, "Oh, we make a mango achar."
And she said that was actually that the Zimbabwean one had South African influences, but it was still called achar, and it sounds real similar. It's prepared in a really similar way.
Yeah. And I was doing a residency last year where I met a Somali woman who also talked about achar. And so it feels like this word is kind of like traveled to a few places. So it's really interesting to hear you say that it's the same word. That's really great. You need to get involved.
It sounds like a awesome sort of, I was going to say experience, I don't know about project, but it sounds like it's an amazing thing to be involved in. Whether you're I think everyone's learning. So regardless of whether you're an instigator or a collaborator, it sounds like it's been a fabulous journey. I'm quite envious. Are you looking, am I right to say that you're looking at developing further and coming up with some recipes and things? Is that the sort of way forward?
Well, what we've actually done at this stage is, so it was a 5-week sort of group of 5 sessions, basically. Once a week on a Thursday evening, we all met up, which was really nice because obviously there are some restrictions around what we can kind of do, and we're out and about, and so it was really nice to kind of meet up with everybody once a week. And in the second, we'd ask people to sort of taste each other, like recipes from each other's culture quite early on, so go and seek them out, or if you can't find them in the area that you're living, to try and make them at home. And then after that, when our participants were paired up, as Wrinkle was with one of our participants called Soha that we mentioned, we asked people to combine their recipes to think about creating something that can be stored out of the fridge. And so there was a lot of hybridization. So me and Kaj paired up together as like collaborators, and then our other collaborators also paired up together. So they've all sort of written recipes based on that premise, that think about preservation, but think about food waste, so using ingredients that would normally go into the bin, either in their home or nationally, and to also think about using some ingredients, but also the techniques from different cultures. And so, for example, with some of the pickles that Wrinkle was making, the one that Wrinkle makes is ready straight away. But her partner collaborator, Soha, you have to shut the jar, wait 10 days, and then taste it after 10 days. And then after 10 days, it's like improved and got like sour and tangy and stuff like that. So yeah, there's been a lot of collaboration and sort of hybridization of recipes and ideas.
Yeah, it also didn't really feel like enough time. So we're kind of at a point now where we're maybe going to have to say, this is the recipe as it is, but there are versions of it that we thought about making, but maybe couldn't make, or you could try out. So it's almost like we've ended up with this idea of a recipe that also has two different cultures feeding into it and two different people. So we're also keen to include the stories of the people. It's not just about the recipes. So what we want to create is like an outcome that reflects that takes the stories, that takes the influences that are going in, and then we know we will have this recipe, but then it's also going to represent like some of the different ideas and scientific processes that are happening in there, where they originated, and then also some of the adaptations that people could try at home with what they have lying around. So we're not quite sure what that's going to look like yet, but that is what we're hoping to create. And we're also doing a second stage of the process where we were talking about getting involved with the big lunch, where we'd like people to try out the recipes and see how they get on with them. So if anybody wants to be involved with that, just let Tracey know, because
it's going to be sort of a cook along live kind of situation. So we'll be teaching some of the recipes that our collaborators have put together, and then the idea being that people can kind of change them themselves a little bit when they're at home, and maybe feedback to us with what worked when they did that.
Yeah, I can't wait.
With regards to our like outcomes that are like, I suppose, tangible, we are it's a bit up in the air at the moment, but we're considering whether or not it will be in the form of sort of either recipe cards or in the form of a book, where you can kind of open it up and see the person's story, where the foods come from, what that reminds them of. It might be something that's been taught to them by a grandparent or a neighbor, or we had a particular collaborator from Sudan who mentioned that one of the reasons that food doesn't go to waste so much in Sudan is because everyone shares with their neighbor. So if you've got too much food, you walk it over to your neighbor's house and you give it to them. And so all of those sort of meandering parts of the story, we want to be, that's all part of that recipe, rather than just this is the ingredients and that's how you cook it. As well as which, on Sunday, we're all meeting up again with a award-winning poet. Her name's Asma Jama, if anyone wanted to look her up. And she is going to be talking us through a poetry workshop where we're going to be asking our collaborators to write about themselves in the form of a recipe. And that's all going to form part of the idea.
I think that's
all very exciting and ever expanding.
I think that should be a challenge to those people here on World Food Day for the lunch, to write about yourself in the form of a recipe. I think I might give that a go. Honestly, it sounds like a beautiful project. Really, really does. I think we've got a few more minutes left. I wondered whether people want to share their stories in an open space here, or contribute, or just reflect on what they've heard, or whether people just want to go in a few smaller groups and have a chat with each other. So if you want to stay in this group and just carry on chatting, give me a hand, say hello. Yeah. If you'd rather go in a smaller group. No, we're carrying on chatting. Yay. So I think what we've heard has been awesome, from Anne, Fatima and Kajil and Wrinkle, and thank you so much. And Catherine, I know you're helping too. And I think that generosity and that connection to each other, our lives, our stories, our food is quite key, but also some of the fun things it reminds us of. I won't talk about being ill with a whole jar of piccalilli. That wasn't nice. But I just wonder if anybody wanted to share their story, or anything that is evoked for them listening to this, or even what you had for lunch. Go on, Joanne. Do unmute yourself.
Yeah, good to go. So like I grew up on a farm in Northern Ireland where it was kind of meat and 2 vegetables, like there was meat every meal. And then I did fashion design, was in Leicester. Then I ended up in Paris. And that's when I learned to cook, because you could go for Vietnamese, you could go for Lebanese, you could just go to the markets, and at the end of the market, the traders would just heal up whatever vegetables, because they weren't going to keep another couple of days until the next market. So it was just like they offered it up to the clochards and the tramps, and we just got, I mean, cucumber pickle, I mean, oh my God, just fantastic. So that I'd love to trace that, you know, where did the pickle story begin? Did it come all the way across through North Africa, maybe into Europe and then into Ireland? Because, you know, it's just how good fermented stuff is for our guts. And when I went to this supper club, she said for my early onset Parkinson's, that the food gut stuff was better for me than some of the medicines I was taking, and that your brain is not your true center, your gut is. I was just like, of course it is. I should have known that. So I'm just so excited, Fatima, with all your good stuff and your project. And yeah, I just can't wait. I'm following you now on Instagram, so you'll so thanks so much. Brilliant ideas. And Rinka, and sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name.
It's Xhale, but everyone calls me Kaj.
Thank you as well. Beautiful. Lovely.
It's really interesting that you're saying about, like, you know, where did all of this originate? It sort of seems like it originated everywhere. Like every culture has like fermentation in it. It has like preservation in it, because it's just one of the ways that we learn to preserve food. The variation comes in the ingredients that are available and the climates that they're in. And so that's been really fascinating for us. And it was one of the reasons why we were keen to like maybe get participants from cultures that maybe we don't necessarily think about when we think about preservation or fermentation. And we've learned so much.
Because we would use buttermilk, milk that's off, to make soda bread and wheaten bread, and it doesn't, because I went gluten-free for a while, but I worked out it was actually the yeast I was having a problem with. So I just went to buttermilk in my bread, and it feels so much better. So, you know, for people with dietary problems, it might be interesting to try.
Yes, there's actually also a link between like sort of gut health and anxiety. So I know that there's a fair bit of research around that now, where, for example, I had a friend who's had sort of gut problems for years and years, maybe 20 years. And she eventually ended up having sort of CBT because through the NHS, because the gut and the and sort of your like mood and stuff are actually quite intrinsically linked.
Fascinating when you think about food, and we always just think breakfast, dinner, tea, and we don't think of absolutely is intrinsic and key to our well-being and life. Thank you, Joanne. Does anybody else have anything they want to share or say? Nerve-wracking. Thank you, Tia. Go on.
I'm interested when Fatima said, like, we don't waste food, right? So I just want to share a story that one day I cooked a whole fish and I divided into two. One part for my husband, one part for me. My husband said, in this country, we don't eat this part of the fish. So I swapped and I said, in my country, the one who eat the head of the fish is the head of the family. So now I'm the one who wear the trousers, I said. So what the point is, but sometimes I just go to the fishmonger just to buy the head of the fish. But the fishmonger look at me like, oh, poor you are only able to buy the head of the fish. They said that is 50p, and then I give £1, I should get 2. But he gave me 3 and then said, oh, so you eat this, as if like it's something. Well, I was thinking, for me, it's a wealth. A salmon head of fish so big like this, I can cook either in soup, in curry, a lot of that. I can work of this. So I just want to ask, where will all this head of fish go? Do they throw it away, or what happened to them?
Who knows? Who knows? I think a lot of these things do sometimes go into like the commercial industry, so it just depends on whether they've been removed already and used to make things like fish stock and stuff like that.
Oh, I do wonder whether they...
In the current
Yeah, it's
climate, I think
definitely-
they have to still do that.
It's definitely a
and
love of food.
also-
It is the love of food. What did you have, Royslim?
I haven't had my lunch yet, so I'm absolutely starving now. I haven't listened to all of the talk about food, so I haven't had my lunch yet. No, but I will now.
So
And I
what's
think I
your
might just be
go-to?
having a boring sandwich because I'm
The
actually in the
sandwiches
office.
aren't boring.
So yeah,
Are you in the
One point.
Honeywell Trust, Roisin?
yeah,
It's looking
Yeah.
well. Yeah, quiet, I suppose, at the moment.
very quiet. Yeah, I'm the only person here, but we're close to public, but we can still come in and do a bit of work if we want. But the public aren't
Yeah.
allowed in, so
Do you agree then that we love our food and we love our conversation
Yes.
and our crack? So the
Absolutely love
combination
the
makes it
food.
perfect.
yeah, and it's a great way to get people together, though.
Mm.
I know that from events. If you promise there's going to be food, everybody comes.
Yeah. We were just talking about the name for breakfast, not for breakfast, for lunch or dinner. And Laurie says there's one name in Welsh. So come on, Laurie. I don't know what, I know the way Welsh is spelt is nothing how it sounds. So how do I say that? Because I'm about to say Chino.
No, it's Kinya. It's a hard C, so it's Kinya. And you
Kinya.
don't have a word for lunch. It's just a word for essentially your meal is lunch, dinner. We do have breakfast, which is a steal of an English word. But yeah, Kinya is all the food. So you don't have to fight over it. You can eat
Kinya.
whatever you want. It's all Kinya.
That's a good word. Yeah, I think we all will go away and have Kinya.
Or scran, as someone was saying.
Yeah.
Scran must be an international one. We definitely use Scran here as well.
We don't eat 3 meals a day in our house. We just eat when we're hungry. Like I eat at 3 o'clock in the morning, at 7 o'clock in the morning, whenever the food makes its way into my face. It's usually whenever. There's no set lunch times. It's just impossible to do that.
What's Welsh for in my face time?
Delicious in my face time meals.
I know how you feel. Oh dear. Oh no, I'm married to a traditional Yorkshireman, and I swear, people, since we've been working from home, people have realised what how dedicated I am to getting that gents meal at 12:30 on the table, and it's the main meal of the day. So he does want a proper dinner for those of you down south. But thank goodness he does my breakfast every day. I don't want you to think I'm hard done to. And he doesn't expect his tea. He can get that himself because it usually is a fish finger sandwich or some beans on toast. But yeah, I'll be peeling veggies in the morning.
Tracey, who eats the fish head in your house?
If it came to it, it'd be me. I'd be honest. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, he's a bit delicate when it comes to stuff like that. He can't even cope when I'm boiling up the carcass. But yeah, I'd definitely be eating the fish head in my house. Yeah, he struggles with anchovies. Let's be right about it.
Per Mark, I bet you he didn't expect he was going to be on YouTube today.
He's always on it, innit? I drag him in. This is my beloved in a big lunch t-shirt. Oh, this has been lovely. It hasn't felt like work at all. It's been really nice, and really nice to share just a bit of time with so many lovely people and just have a bit of crack over some scran.
And you all have a few more Instagrams now to follow and just what is it, you know, search through and pick out your favorite things on. So you have the 2 that we've posted up there, and Food for Life get-togethers have some cooking recipes that we'll share later on too. And we have the Big Lunch and Eat Project committees on there. So we'll move from Zoom to Instagram now and spend the afternoon looking at recipes on this one.
I can't wait to see what we're cooking, but we mustn't forget, I think, and maybe we will follow this up with an email. I do think it's quite nice to think of how you would, is it describe yourself, or describe yourself if you were a recipe? I think that's a lovely thing, and I might go away and think about that, although I'm not cracking at recipes or poetry. Oh dear. Right, I think it's time to say farewell. And as I say, it's been really lovely. So we'll say goodbye to you all now, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend. And thank you for your time, for sharing, and for your generosity and good food.
Thanks.